Hello everyone. It has been really a long gap since last recording. Let's begin with something new in American literature. I'm trying to talk of the writers of American literature which are prescribed there in IGNOU final year. The first among them is James Fenimore Cooper. He was born in 1789, the year which is famous for French Revolution in history, and he died in 1851, means 6 years before First War of Independence in India, or you can say 2 years before the introduction of first railway from Mumbai to Thane. So his birth year is 1789 and he died in 1851. He is an American novelist, historian, US Navy sailor. He also wrote for political motives. Historical romances, those are written by Cooper, James Cooper, we can say in short. They draw a picture of frontier and American Indian life in early American days. Frontier, you can understand, something concerned with the border in the time of battle or war. So his historical romances draw a picture of frontier and American Indian life in early American days. Mr. Cooper was a lifelong member of Episcopal Church. It seems to be famous, Episcopal, E-P-I-S-C-O-P-A-L. He was also a member of Linnean Society, Linnean, L-I-N-O-N-I-A-N, Linnean Society at Yale University, Y-A-L-E. That university is also famous there in America. So he was also a member of Linnean Society at Yale University. He spent most of his life in a town where he went after some years of his birth. The name of the town is Cooperstown, C-O-O-P-E-R-S-T-O-W-N, Cooperstown in New York. Actually, this town was founded by his own father, William Cooper. One description that we get of the novel, actually when we talk of his first novel, that is Precaution, it was published in 1820. The second novel, that is The Spy, it was published in 1821. That novel, it's a tale about counter espionage, and it is set during the American Revolutionary War. So as you know, he has concern of history as well in his writings. and as you know, he is a historian as well, with novelist. So that depiction we find in his works, also in his fiction also, means facts are there in his fiction also. He also wrote numerous sea stories. See how the life of a person very much influences the writing. Since he was a Navy sailor initially when he joined US Navy, so he spent most of his time in that profession. So he is very much concerned about sea and its happenings. So he wrote numerous sea stories as well. And the thing that is very famous, 5 novels, and those 5 novels came in a series, and that series is known as Leather Stocking Tales, or you can say Leather Stocking Tales. 5 historical novels, mind it, historical novels. In English literature, I mean in British literature, when you try to find out the person who is very much concerned with history, Walter Scott, famous for historical romances, Walter Scott. So here we have James Cooper. He wrote series of 5 historical novels, and those historical novels talks of frontier period, mind it, frontier period in American history. And when we talk of the masterpiece that is there in the syllabus in IGNOU, the name of the novel is The Last of the Mohicans. It is a romantic novel, of course historical as well. It got much appraisal by several people. But as you know, writers have to confront both admiration and criticism. So the very famous novelist of America, Mark Twain, he criticized it. He mercilessly mocked it, means didn't like it much. We'll talk about it later in detail. So if we are talking of Leather Stocking Tales, let me tell you the name of 5 novels. Those are there in that series. The first one is The Pioneers. The Pioneers. And you know the meaning of pioneer? Beginner. So The Pioneers, through that concept also you can remember it, the name of the first novel. The Pioneers, published in 1823. The second one is The Last of the Mohicans, which is there in the syllabus. The third one is The Prairie, a Tale. See, when we talk of these novels, interestingly enough, he wrote subtitle for all the novels. When we talk of this, The Last of the Mohicans, its subtitle is A Narrative of 1757. You must remember that year in Indian history as Battle of Plassey, which took place in between Sirajud-Dowlah and English people. Robert Clive was there in the position. So the second novel is The Last of the Mohicans, published in 1826, and its subtitle is A Narrative of 1757. The third one is The Prairie, 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 as you know, the name of the famous grassland in America. The Prairie, The subtitle is A Tale, published in 1827. The fourth one is The Pathfinder, published in 1840. Its subtitle is The Inland Sea. I have made all of them written with colon, COLON, double dot that we say. The fifth one is The Deer Slayer, published in 1841, and its subtitle is The First War Path. Let's move backward. See, James Cooper, he joined as a sailor, just a simple sailor in US Navy, and with the passage of time he could gain the position of midshipman. That he got due to the influence of his father in politics. Actually, his father was elected as the member of that time Congress which was there. As we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they have Congress, So political influence was very much there of his father, and due to that also he could gain this position of midshipman, MIDSHIPMAN. Some of the names of other works that we have: The Pilot or The Red Rover. He dedicated it to his friend, lifelong friend, William Branford Shubrick. William Branford Shubrick. WILLIAM, William Branford, BRANFORD, Branford Shubrick, SHUBRIC, a Navy officer. So, as I told you that the first novel that he wrote, name of it was Precaution, and it was published in 1820. It focuses on morals and manners, and that influence he got through Jane Austen's approach to fiction. As we know in Jane Austen's novels, how morals and morals are very much depicted, very much there. And interesting thing is that the first novel that he published, he did not announced his name. I mean, he wrote it anonymously. He published it anonymously, means did not declare his name that he wrote it. Anonymously means did not give his own name. And the second one, The Spy, that is famous one, published in 1821, inspired by a tale related to his family friend. There was a family friend of him, John Lay, John, John Lay, L-A-Y. And this is a Revolution War tale. Once again, see how history is very much there. It is a Revolution War tale, and it became bestseller. And as I was talking of leather stocking series, the first among them is The Pioneers. Here we have a character, the protagonist, whose name is Natty Bumppo. Natty, Natty, Natty Bumppo, Bumppo, Natty Bumppo. He is the resourceful American woodsman, a frontiersman known to European American settlers as, this protagonist, this main character, is known with different names by European Americans and by Native Americans. Both groups, they know him with different names, actually different adjectives, you can say. For example, European American settlers, they know him as leather stocking, or the pathfinder, or the trapper. Native Americans, they call him deer slayer or hockey. And this is not a hockey, H-O-C-K-E-Y, no, this is H-A-W-K-E-Y-E-E. Means some concept of hawk is there, that omnivorous bird, hockey. Omnivorous? No, I think that is carnivorous. Okay. So European American settlers, they know him as leather stocking, the pathfinder, the trapper. Native Americans call him deer slayer, hockey, etc., etc. See, there is a very famous group that is known as Braid and Cheese Club, that was organized by Cooper himself. The name of the organization or the club is Braid and Cheese Club. Very beautiful name. Roti or Makhan. So, Braid and Cheese Club. This he organized for 3 years nearly, from 1824 to 1827. And the main thing regarding this group was, it brought together several personages, the people belonging to several sectors of society. American writers, editors, artists, scholars, educators, art patrons. Patrons, you understand? One who, gives power and position to artists. For example, in the ancient time, kings used to be the patronage of artists. Or any time, the people having money and power, they can become the patron of the artists. So, artists, scholars, educators and patrons, merchants, lawyers, politicians and others. This group, interestingly, this group was also known as the Lunch or the Lunch Club. And there were 35 people as member of this Braid and Cheese Club. In 1826, James Cooper moved to Europe, and in 1832 he became a political writer. He started writing for a daily journal named as Le National. It's a French journal, daily, used to be published on the daily basis. He started writing against corruption and all sort of negativity, those were prevailing there at that time in this French Daily. He attacked European anti-republicanism in The Bravo, 1831. The Bravo is the work in which he attacked European anti-republicanism, means he was supporter of republicanism. So he was against anti-republicanism, though that was there in the Europe at that time, and against that he wrote in the work The Bravo, published in 1831. And he did not stop here, he continued it, means he was continuing his attacking against such negativity, continued it in his other works like the Fenimore, Heidenmaur, published in 1832. The other one is The Headsman, or The Abbey of Vigneron. The Abbey, Abbaye, of Vigneron, Vigneron, published in 1833. So as you know, from 1826 to 1833, nearly for 7 years he lived there in Europe, Actually, he was with his family in Europe. He returned America in 1833 and published a letter to my countryman, in which he criticized various social mores. Mores, you understand? Negativity, negative behavior of the people prevailing in the society. So he criticized various social mores in his work, A Letter to My Countrymen. When you talk of his influence, means the people who influenced him, his ideas were influenced by people, great people like Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Everybody knows him, the person who was responsible behind French Revolution, the great French philosopher Rousseau, who gave the concept of return to nature, as we have the concept of Vedon ki or Lotto by Dayanand Saraswati. So here we have Rousseau, who said return to nature, and on whose philosophy we find the foundation of Romanticism in all over Europe. So Cooper's ideas were influenced by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The other person who influenced him a lot is Barlamaki. I think he is from Italy. And then again we have the great name from France, whose name is Montesquieu. Actually, some of the people say it as Montaigne as well. So these were some of the people who influenced his ideas, and that we can visualize and we can perceive in his writing as well. That's all for today. We'll talk further in detail that great work, The Last of the Mohicans. Thank you.